Alright guys, so I just finished the gym now. Cold plunge, sauna. We didn't get a chance to film the session, but it was a good session overall. Alright guys, it's Friday today, so just finished Friday prayers now. Gonna go home today and there's a lot of work to do, so I'm gonna jump on a call with Mark later on about 4 PM. I am fasting today as well, so for those of you who do not know, it is Ramadan, so 30 days of non-stop consecutive fasting. Obviously you eat, but you eat before the sun rises. So not when the sun's risen, the moment it starts to rise, that's the first time you begin, or you have to stop eating even. And then you can eat again when the sun's completely set. So they're not too long this year. They're between 4:30 AM and about 6:30 PM. So they're not too long. But yeah, regardless, I'm gonna get that done. Got a few errands to do now. Go home and then I'll fill you guys in later. Just to add as a note as well, being the fact that it's March, so I'm just doing my self-review as well. I've been doing it for around a month's time. So I begin my self-review around a month before I finish the quarter, and what I do is I backtrack over the past 12 months of trades and I collect screenshots of my winning positions, my losing positions only, not break-even positions, and I'll explain why later. I get them all together, and what I do is I get them sent off to a printing company and I get them made in a booklet. So I'll have a booklet of winning trades, a booklet of losing trades. I'm just compiling my new one at the moment, so that's not even been ordered yet or even been made yet, but I'm making that at the moment. And then what I'll do is I'll study my winning trades and I'll study my losing trades. Okay, and the funny thing is, when you stick to one method, right, every year you get better and you notice smaller details. So I've been trading this method that I trade now for the last 6 years, coming this April. And I tell you what, I've been trading a total of 8 years as well, just to put in there. So the previous 2 years before I even began trading this method, I was self-taught. So I was trying to learn everything and anything I could from the internet, which you obviously know how that goes. That obviously doesn't always go well. But yeah, I was self-taught for a couple of years and I started learning this method. I traded it for the past 6 years and I will do for the rest of eternity, I see, because the refinements that I've made just through doing this simple process, which also you have to understand, if you're swapping systems every 6 months, you can't do this. Like Bruce Lee famously said that, fear the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times, not the man who's practiced 10,000 kicks. And it's exactly this. Okay, I know traders still trade support and resistance, who still trade trend lines and or supply and demand or whatever it might be, but they've traded that particular method, one method, for a very long period of time. Tell you what, they're doing exceptionally well. So it's always the people that trade one method, that master one method. And that way then you're not a jack of all trades and master of none. So it's a very simple process, but this only becomes appropriate for those who stick to one method over a period of time, because 2 years in, 3 years in, 4 years in, you continuously do this process, and what you'll find is that you'll just notice little things that you wouldn't have noticed in year 1 or 6 months in or even 2 years in. Okay, so don't doubt how powerful it is to build this lens with experience. Yeah, today's fast was a little bit more challenging. I don't know why, but it was a bit more challenging. We got it done regardless. I'm very hungry right now, so I'm making my way there. But my week is very simple. Today, Friday, is usually a very simple day. I go to prayers, I come back, and usually around 3-4 PM I'm on a call with Mark. We're masterminding for a few hours. Getting prepped for the week ahead, reviewing the week, these kind of things. There's a good catch up as well. I mean, we catch up pretty much every single day in the week, but Friday's the big catch up. And we've been doing these calls for the past 2 years now, and honestly so much growth has happened just in me as a trader from having that ability to mastermind with him every single week. So they're Fridays, they're pretty boring days, to be honest. When I say boring, I mean looking from the outside in, people would think, you know, there's nothing exciting, and there shouldn't be. Trading's not supposed to be an exciting thing. Trading activity in the week is nothing crazy anyway. Like taking a trade is what, 10 seconds, 10-15 seconds of execution, you know, and scanning the charts in the morning shouldn't take you longer than 2 or 3 minutes. The way you trade should be simple enough where you don't have to spend such a long time in the morning scanning the charts trying to figure out what your potential plays are. But anyway, that's my my day-to-day life in the week. I train every single week, and yeah, it's a very repetitive, what would to other people be boring, to me it's not. I don't really care, I don't really pay attention. I don't sit here and think my life is so boring. I'm not bothered. I just know I have tasks to complete in the day and I will get them done, and those tasks will help keep me in flow. You know, granted the fact this Ramadan as well, I've tried my best to be in as best flow as possible, but I've not been able to be as sharp, and that does come part and parcel, or not in your set sleep routine as well. You know, don't get me wrong, if I lose sleep the odd few occasion, I'm not really bothered. I'm not one of them that complains about having 2 hours less of sleep. I can function on even 2 hours of sleep. I've done that. You know, you're doing it consistently, you're sleep deprived so consistently, you're not replenished, you're not eating food, you're not drinking water, you're not as sharp, especially in the markets. And it just so happens to be that in this time period, from Thursday last week up until now, there has been roughly about 40% worth of trades. I'll snap the trades on here somewhere on the screen. But yeah, it just happens. It is what it is. You know, I can look at that and think, why now out of all times have I happened to not been able to capitalize on 40% worth of trades? And these are simple trades that weirdly on any other day you'd see, but it fascinates me how the human mind works. You know, and a lot of people would think that's placebo. It genuinely isn't. I'm on top of my game as much as I can possibly be, but sometimes these things happen. And if it happens to happen in a month where I'm dedicating myself spiritually to something, so be it. I don't care. You know, this life is very temporary at the end of the day, and there's a bigger focus in life other than just your work all the time. Sometimes you have to dedicate time to growing yourself spiritually as well, which is very important. I know I've got the rest of the year left anyway. 40% is great, don't get me wrong. And yeah, it doesn't happen every week, but there's an entire year left. So there's at least 300 to 350% worth of trades, I believe, every single year. I mean, even last year, there was roughly about 285 that I calculated off the top of my head. So there's opportunities all across the year. It doesn't mean you slack, of course, it doesn't mean you get lazy, but I can then look at this situation in retrospect and totally understand from experience as well that your reaction to it is very, very important. You know, if I sit here and react negatively to it and I dwell on it, then I'm just going to repeat the same circumstance again. Whereas if I understand as a trader who has experience that these things happen, as long as it's not something that is a psychological issue that I've not dealt with, that's coming out of my trading and it's repetitive again and again, because these things, people let them marinate for a long time and they just brush it off thinking, oh, I'm not going to dwell on it, it's fine, just move on to the next, thinking that they're thinking probabilistically, but they're actually ignoring an issue that's there, that's actually denting their performance. I know it's not the case for me, you know, because I very rarely miss positions like that. So this is actually my first car here, as you can see. I've not looked after this at all. So we've had some dampness that's basically leaked in from the top here that has resulted in this. So as you can see, all that mold there, it's really not nice to look at, all around the edges as well, you can see here. So there's a lot of things that need to be done to the car. The brakes need doing, needs a new battery and a few things doing to it. So I'm gonna get this sorted and hopefully get it sold. Like I said, I've been very, very lazy with this car ever since I got hold of this beautiful car on the left. This one I've not actually worked on, so this actually has original John Cooper Works alloys, John Cooper Works side skirts there that you can see. It's got full leather interior, which is obliterated at the moment. We're going to clean that. It's got all chrome interior, it's got the new wheel. You can't really see in there, but it's got a TV screen as well. It's a very lovely car, but I've just unfortunately not looked after it, so I'm going to get this properly cleaned and done. And there's a weird clicking noise coming from the engine now, hold on. That's what I mean, it's only a small push, and it's always good to look at the after screenshot because you can tell what the market was trying to do. That kind of behaviour after what we've got is very uncommon. Yeah. The market will likely commit. If it's doing that, it's likely forming an extension structure to break out, right? Which at that point, I mean, you can't really tell. The only thing that would give it away to me, and this is a very, very intricate detail. So you see this first touch. What price has still done is it's still exhausted into these highs, it's arced around, scooped out, wicked above the highs, broken close back in fact completely below, and you've got the continuation. So I wouldn't say you've actually done anything wrong there. Usually what you want to do is you get your stops protected about 50% beneath them. Right, okay. So even if you were to get, let's say, a 15 pip stop, I know I'm outside of that range of 50%. You want to get them past 50% basically. You know, usually what people do is they don't know where to protect their stops when you have wicks this big, so they'll just put it really tight like this. But from experience and data and review, what I've seen is that when you ever have larger wicks breaking out a structure like this, measure 50% of them, protect your stops beneath that. And you can see to the top of that, you probably would have walked away with about 1.7 to there. And with this, you would lock in your profit in the same area. So 1.8, 1.7. Not of any relevance at all in the slightest, because with this one, if I just take this off, that's not part of structure. Yeah. Right. The price showed us that in the end anyway, because it formed one bottom, second bottom, and third bottom there. Right. But with the first bottom here, this is not a first bottom. This is just part of this leg that formed the continuation in the end that you can see there. All right, guys. So it is Sunday. So I slept through the time period in which I'm supposed to obviously eat or drink. So I've not ate nor drank anything. So I'm literally going to have to soldier it today. Doing my watch list at the moment, so we're going to build that. It's pretty much done by the time Sunday comes. I haven't really had a chance to film that in its entirety, but I'll try to capture some of that footage now. We're near Hebden Bridge.
Where's that?
Sobby Bridge. It's a beautiful place, this.
Quite area.
You know what this place reminds me of?
Yeah.
Sheffield. You know what, there's nothing there. It's just barren. Anyway, that's my day done. So that's chart work. Supposed to do a few other things today, but we didn't get to do that. Next weekend's going to be a good one because we're going to be going for a different drive. I'm going to take my car, my friend's going to take his car. It's going to be fun. Beautiful drive this.
That's what we're going to do. Park the car here and just run. Get a few shots.